This is the clear copywriting method, and it has one design. It's really to set up for complete domination of the news feed. It's really a way for you to capture engagement. It's a way to tell a story in a format that actually is easy for the user. I want to reemphasize how important it is to draw in the user, to draw in your audience. It's really, really dang important, guys, that you are able to capture their attention in the very first few milliseconds of them scrolling their feed. And this has been proven on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. I'm going to keep it to that, although I'm starting to see how I can use this story method in TikTok, which I believe is a huge opportunity right now. I think TikTok is just a wide open area right now, and LinkedIn too. Facebook, I want to open up by saying that Facebook is very important. Who your network is, your audience is the ones who are going to engage with you. You don't get a lot of reach outside of your audience. So if they're not following you or they're not a friend, then their chances are they're not going to see your content. And that's why it's really important. And I'll show you guys a little hack that I use to keep my audience engaged, and also to know who's not engaging with my content. All right, so first and foremost, we're going to dive right in here. Hope you guys are having a great day. I want to talk about a little bit about what social media selling is. First and foremost, you have to understand that you are, whether you want to or not, every time you post something online, and I said this in the previous training, during the branding training, that everything you post is either building or destroying your brand. Well, this is really the I guess foundation of who you are as a brand, is the content you put out. The first thing people do when you send a connection request, the first thing that people do before they make a decision about you, is they try to explore who you are, and they say, okay, is this, they're trying to mitigate risk. They're trying to lower risk. So actually, your brand online, the way you show up, is actually helping people understand that you are a low risk to invest in. So whether that's you're a marketer, whether you have a consultancy or a coach, or you have a product to sell, they're going to check out who you are. There was a great study done talking about the importance of brands and how brands are trusted more. And this is from Leapfrog. They published something saying that 80. Let me take a look. Now I'm kind of curious. I want to make sure I got the data right here. I'm going to open up a random presentation that I did for a client. I don't want you guys to see this. Hold on. Let's see here. But I really think that this is a really important thing to see. Yeah, I got it. Here's the data. Got the data right here. So this is actually from a different presentation for a presentation that I had given to a client. So you're actually looking at one of my pitch decks. So a little bonus for you guys. But there's a lot of benefits of having a personality brand. Some data here. Brand Frog. There you go. So 75% of people that were polled found that 75% of people are more likely to trust a company whose leadership team engages with social. So whether you're a solopreneur or you have a big company, if you are an executive, if you're a decision maker in the company, people have more faith and trust in you if you're active on social media. 93% of people agree that CEOs who actively participate in social media can build better connections with their customers, employees, and investors. So really important pieces here. 90% of people agree that social media is an essential aspect of PR and communication for CEOs. All right, so that was a pitch I made for Caleb. Caleb, if you ever see this for some time in your life, there you go. So back to this. it's really important because basically you're selling yourself. So whatever it is that you're selling, you're actually selling yourself, and that's what social media is for. Most people don't go on social media to just communicate with pages. They go on to connect and communicate with people. All right. So what is the clear method exactly? So first, I'm going to show you an example of a post I made. This here is from 2018, but this is a normal post. Okay. So and by the way, I'm actually gonna stop here and let you know that I'm going to go to my own personal profile and show you a couple examples of how this clear method is used on pretty much everything that I do, so that you guys can see and apply it to your own lives. Okay. But this is a feeling about me having to fire somebody. And I think as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, a lot of people can relate to having to fire somebody. I've hired and fired hundreds of people over the past 6 years building my own business, and I wrote this story after firing someone. And I really liked her. I thought she was really nice, but she just, you'll see in the story. So I'm going to show you what it talks about. So the very first thing that you do is you capture people's attention. So I'm going to go back here. Do you notice the very first sentence that I put said it sucked? And then I said I had to fire someone yesterday. So look at this opening headline. It sucked. The objective of the first statement is to capture their attention right away and making them curious, leaving them with three main questions. The questions are, every time they read that first or the first or maybe the first two lines, they should always be thinking, what happened? How did that happen? Or why did that happen? Okay, those are three really important things that people have to feel. Okay, these are questions that are really important to understand, that drive people to keep reading, which takes us to our next part. Okay, and that's what the C in clear stands for, curiosity. You've got to pique their curiosity. The second is the lead up in the pitch. The lead up means, why should I keep reading this? What is the value of me continuing to read this? You have to give them a reason to keep reading this. Okay, so listen to this. I had to fire someone yesterday. I've not had to do that in over a year. Now, at this point in time, they're thinking, what happened? They're probably thinking, what happened, or how did you handle this, right? If you can get them to think all three questions, why did you have to fire somebody? How did this happen? And what is he going to do about it? Which is pretty much what this does. It's basically the trifecta. Like, if you can nail all three of those questions on that first couple lines, you've got it. Okay. Now, this is where it's really important to make people feel like they're emotionally invested in your story. So look at the next piece. I said, I tried to pretend that hiring someone new would make me feel better about it, but it didn't. So it's saying that I hired someone new, but it did make me feel better. I'm still feeling bad, right? And what I'm doing is I'm making people feel like, okay, they have to relate to the feeling. They have to relate to the emotion that you're going through, and possibly, and better, if you can actually make them rehash a memory in their own mind that, oh man, I've been there too. Okay, a lot of people have lost a client. A lot of people have lost a job. A lot of people have lost a loved one, right? There's just stories that work that people can relate to, and the better that you can make them feel emotionally invested in your story where they can relate to you, the better it's going to be, okay? You want to make sure that your audience feels like you're being vulnerable with them. That's a really important piece of this puzzle, okay? So this is the part where you build authority. This is the analyze. So remember, so far we've gotten curiosity, we've gotten the lead up in the pitch, then we've got the emotion, and now we're analyzing and we're providing proof. So what you want to do with anything is you want to insert your authority. This is what I did in the situation. This is what I understand. This is what I analyze in the situation. So you'll see a lot of times I'll use like bullet points. I love using bullet points, like 1, 2, 3, 4 type things or whatever. And it basically shows people that A, you're a logical thinker, and that you're a thought leader, okay? That you've had to go through something and make a valuable decision. And this could be about your personal life, this could be about your business, but people are looking at your decision-making process, people. This is what most people don't understand. They're looking at your social media profiles, and they're looking at what type of decisions that you make to see if you're the type of person that they would like to do business with, that they would trust to make a decision about them. Ooh, let me ride the bus. Okay? Let me drive the bus. So this next line I say, if you don't have passion in the work you do, it doesn't serve you nor whoever you're doing the work for. That's an observation. That's me analyzing what had happened. You'll also see them reinforcing. Okay, the last part, the R, it's more of a trifecta: reinforcement, reaction, and results. I call this the call to reaction. The number one thing that you should be doing on your Facebook posts isn't trying to do a call to action or make them click a link or whatever. The number one thing you should make people do is invoke a reaction, whether that's engagement, whether that's a comment, whether that's a like, whether that's a share, whatever it is. You want to invoke people to take an action, but it's not just an action, it's really a reaction to what you're doing. So that's what's really important. So if you see here, I say culture is the most valuable thing we give. You may have to make decisions you don't want to for the sake of the team, for yourself, and more importantly, for them. So if you do this, it's also kind of reinforcing the beginning of the story, saying that I had to fire somebody, I didn't want to fire this person, I hired somebody else, thought it would make me feel better, didn't make me feel better, and now I'm saying that, I had to make a decision for the sake of the team and myself and for them. At the very end, you have to think about what these types of things do. So what I'm going to do, guys, before I move forward, I want to show you some more recent posts that I've made on Facebook. Okay? I want you to think about this post. Okay? So, wow, I have a lot of posts. I haven't got to that post yet. Okay, here we go. All right, let me zoom in for you guys. And this is a nice and short post, okay? And, decent engagement. I mean, it's probably one of the lowest engagement posts I've had in a while. But it's current and relevant to what's going on right now. So you'll see my very first curiosity hook is a lot of buzz about Facebook news again. Okay, I'm just making people curious. And then I'm leading them in. In the past, Mark Zuckerberg made the decision to remove Facebook newsfeed in an effort not to offend anyone. This is part of today's cancel culture. Now, do you notice here, I'm already bringing the emotions in the second line. So I'm kind of merging the two together. I'm talking about that offending, right? Like a lot of people are probably getting triggered by this because they think, a lot of people thought, it's ironic because in Facebook news, Mark Zuckerberg got in trouble because the one side of the aisle, I'm not going to say who, was very angry because, well, I'll just say it, the liberal side was very angry because there were conservative voices in the news feed that they felt were fake news. Okay? Now this is before, this is even before Trump labeled it fake news. But what was crazy is that we live in this, so now I'm calling it out and saying that today we live in this cancel culture where if something offends you, you boycott them and demand them go away, and you strip their freedom of speech. This is very dangerous sentiment in the worldview. This is me analyzing things, right? So I've already kind of invoked their curiosity. I've already brought them into what they should learn, or what, at least the value that I'm going to be bringing in. I brought in the offensive emotion, and I'm also now analyzing, this is a very dangerous sentiment. You see views that you don't agree with that offend you are critical to a free and open society. This is me analyzing, and then I'm reinforcing here at the end. Zuckerberg said in a statement to bring Facebook news back, my goal for this next decade isn't to be liked, but to be understood. Because in order to be trusted, people need to know what you stand for. And then I reinforce it by saying, it's about time. Okay? And look at that. Fox News just happened to have Donald Trump landing. And by the way, guys, if you want to get good at doing polarizing content, so I follow all the big major news agencies, and I find out exactly the type of stuff that they're posting and what their audience is like. And it's a fun little exercise. But look, 26 comments on this, and it's not even a good post of mine. You know, geez. It doesn't really take a lot. This right here is probably the better story of them all. So let me give you guys show an example of how you can test content for Facebook and LinkedIn. I will tell you that professional content, if you guys aren't using LinkedIn, you should, because if you're not using LinkedIn to do these types of stories, you're crazy. I want to show you the type of views that I'm getting here. So this is basically the same post. This is my post here on Facebook about me quitting my job. Okay, but here's the thing. I changed the headline up because I realized this one wasn't working that well. If I write a story like this and I get less than, say, 50, 60 engagement, I know that it didn't really hit that well. So what I usually do is I look at how I can make things less, and I also think about how I can make things more pronounced. And usually 90% of the times when things are wrong, it's because you don't have a really good curiosity hook. That curiosity hook is so valuable, so important. So this one, I say they say a picture can say 1,000 words. Well, look at here. On my LinkedIn, I changed it. Let me zoom in for this as well for you guys. I put, I quit my 6-figure job. Okay, so we're going to use this as an example because this was the one that really worked well. Look at this, 11,000 views, guys, 128 likes, 44 comments. All right, so let's show off the clear copywriting method here in person on how I made this post go so crazy. Okay, I quit my 6-figure job. This was the last flight I took as a Fortune 500 manager, a project manager, for my very last kickoff meeting in the middle of nowhere, Alaska, in December 2015. So there's my curiosity hook. This is my leading them into what they're going to learn. And then I kind of pull them in a little bit more. I say I was recently promoted to Project Manager 3. At this point in time, hopefully, they're getting emotionally invested in the story. I can see here I put they gave me a 25% raise, and I did in quotation marks to kind of set up that there's something wrong with the 25% raise. Changed me from hourly pay to salary. The first thing they do after putting me on a 40-hour work week salary was to send me to Florida for a week-long event that went from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. I mentioned to my boss that I'm only getting paid 8 hours a day. He said, "Now, Jeff, you know this isn't an 8 to 5 job." By the way, this is 100% true. So now people are probably saying, wow, that's probably not fair. Do you see how I didn't call the emotion out directly? I let people experience it for themselves. Kind of goes into the post that I made right here a little bit earlier, is your message is more impactful and powerful when you help them come up with the conclusion themselves. If you can just give people enough information to come up with a conclusion for themselves, it's way more important and more strong, and it lasts longer than just telling them what to think. Okay, it's better if you set up a home run. So for example, I set up another home run right here. Here's Tatiana McGrath, who is a satire account who makes fun of ridiculous things. One of them in this, she's actually talking about how unbelievable the international reporting is on hate crimes and things like that. This here says, I said America has a long way to go, which is also satire. So I've got a double whammy here, but it's literally just one sentence. And I say, it says anti-gay hate crimes recorded by the police, and you'll see all these countries that obviously suppress that basically being homosexual is like punishable by death. And then here's America with 1,400 reporting. And then it says, and you're telling me it's the Islamic states that are homophobic, right? Now, of course, most people have come to the conclusion, 141 comments later, that this is crazy, right? And I helped people find that out for themselves by making them skeptical. And by the way, satirical accounts, things that are satire, obviously work really, really well because these are people arguing the point that I'm already making through the satire. So think about how you can leverage satirical content as well. All right. So back to this. He said, now, Jeff, you know this isn't an 8 to 5 job. When I got my first paycheck from them after the promotion and raise, it was actually 25% less because previously I was doing 20% overtime at time and a half. That was the final straw. It was only a matter of time before you felt undervalued and just a number. I cared so much about my work, my clients, my team. So do you see what I'm analyzing now? I've already switched from the curiosity hook. I've gone into leading them into why they should keep reading it. I've already pulled out the emotion. Now I'm starting to analyze things. I said when I got my first paycheck, it's 25% less, because before I was doing 20% overtime at time and a half. That's the final straw. See the analyze. Now I'm going to reinforce and cause a reaction. And it was only a matter of time before you felt undervalued. So what I'm doing is I'm reinforcing the emotions that people are feeling during this, and how I felt when all this was happening to me. And I said if they would have showed me that they cared, that I was valuable to them, I'd still be there today. I guess in some sense I'm thankful. Thankful that by showing me how much they didn't value me, I quit. And I was finally able to discover my own worth. Now, that is a home run. This is, for me, getting over 100 likes on LinkedIn is really good. My audience is, I have 7,000 followers. I think I gained 100 followers or something from this post. But it was really valuable. My dog is very hungry and sad. So if you hear some barking, that's why. All right, so we're going to go back. So check this out. This is what I want you to do, okay? So you're about to write a winner, and I want you guys to think of a story. Our life is full of them. Not many people are good at telling them, and that's hopefully my goal for today, is that by the end of this, you'll be able to tell your story really well, okay? So if you're thinking about what you don't want to write, if you don't know what to write about, you can also join Facebook groups. Facebook groups on certain topics. So for example, I know Arnie Giske, he helps people launch courses. There's a bunch of people out there there's a bunch of good posts inside these groups that, here somebody said, what are the BOM components of creating an online course, right? So inside, I call it comment gold. Basically, if you look down here and see the stuff that people are writing, these are all great ideas that you can use for Facebook posts. As a matter of fact, I just had something like that happen to me today in this Facebook group called Virtual Assistant Savvies, because I saw that somebody had asked what it, oh, that was it. I just saw it. Oh, I hope it's still there. Wait, there it is. Yeah, okay. So look at this post right here. Hi, Savvies. My client says she will be making YouTube videos and she will want editing for it. I haven't done this before, so I'm wondering how long this takes per video and what I should charge. Well, I just wrote a comment on there that was super, super valuable. I got a lot of comments on it. As a matter of fact, I had somebody message me telling me it was a great price and asked if they could leverage me. Because I know that this person is from a Western country, not a Filipino, and that she's looking at pricing herself, I first threw a big bomb at her. I use a curiosity hook in my comment. $3 on Fiverr and Upwork. It depends on the needs though, because it can get intense. Okay, so now I've drawn in using the curiosity hook. And in that case, we do this. What we do is offer a package, 10 videos and 10 quote images for $1,000, but it's a lot of work. Here's what we do. They usually give us 20 to 60-minute video files, and then our graphic designers create a brand guide with several video and quote images. My team, the American content director, identifies the best value BOM clips and timestamps. We create bold, catchy headlines for each video. We create captions for the videos. We usually use rev.com, $1 a minute, and then look for issues with names. And then take the best quotes from the transcripts to use in the quote boards. Then the graphic designer applies the quotes to the quote board templates, usually with pictures of the influencer. Video branding from templates are applied with title, and all assets are sent to the client. And then for an additional add-on, we create captions for posts and cross-post on multiple platforms. So it was a comment. It's a comment inside a Facebook group, and I actually got business from this post. And what's cool is that this now has been copied and pasted, and